Emily from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, May 23rd. So we have the moon in Pisces all day. Monday is moon day, and the moon being in Pisces means we're very detached from reality. We're a little bit spacey. We're in a water sign, so things might feel heavy and emotional and weighted. We might have a hard time getting through our tasks, our chores in our day, because all we really want to do is float off into la la land, which honestly is not a bad place to be. The moon in Pisces, though, can be very overwhelming because we're hypersensitive. We are attached to our intuition. We have insights coming in very strong. We are kind of really in this creative realm, especially now that we're in Gemini season, in the mental plane, bouncing around a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts. And with the moon in Pisces, we are just kind of uncertain about a lot of things. We are trying to create a dream and a vision in our head and use our gut reaction and the way that our body responds to this dream and this vision as an insight, as guidance on what it is that we actually want to do in moving forward. So there is a little bit of a push and pull. We do have to remind ourselves that we just had the last quarter moon in Pisces, which was an aha moment, a time of realization and revelation, especially of all the things that have been popping off and all of the things coming to light since the eclipse portal. So today, we also have Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, even our anger, spending his last full day in Piscean energy. He is about to jump into his place of power in Aries. I am going to recommend that you go ahead and listen to the astro forecast that I put out about Mars's time in Aries to give you a better idea on what it is that we can expect, especially in our physical energy, for the next couple of weeks. Today we have 8 different aspects taking place, and 6 of them involve the moon in Pisces. So the moon right out of the gate is going to semi-square Venus. Venus, of course, the goddess of love and beauty and pleasure and worth and money, she's in Aries. Again, really fighting for what it is that she wants, needs, and desires. Really cutting the cord with the past, with the old patterns and behaviors that she's no longer willing to tolerate. The moon in Pisces, though, making this little bit of a tension with Venus, it's going to make us very uncertain with what it is that we actually want, need, and desire emotionally. We have been a little bit beat down, a little bit battered with our personal relationships. We are kind of unsure right now what it is that we do want. We're very sure on what it is that we don't want. However, we don't know what to do with this information. We're having a hard time logically and practically applying this information to our physical realms, especially where relationships are concerned. The moon will be bumping into the true node, and the true node is our destiny point. It's trying to show us the path that we need to get on in order to fulfill our soul's mission and our soul's purpose. Lucky for us, this is a positive aspect between the moon and the true node, which is really helping us in our, what I would like to say, dreamland, fantasy land, imaginary land. Because of course, we have to catch a vision, we have to catch a dream, and then back it up with an emotion, and then apply practical and logical knowledge in order for it to actually manifest. So although we don't have the logical, practical part down yet, that's what we're working on, is the current strategy on how it is that we're going to bring some of these dreams and visions to life. The moon in Pisces, which is highly receptive to the higher realms of intelligence coming in from our higher selves, coming in from our intuition, is likely going to download us with some very interesting visuals, some dreamscapes, if you will, on what it is that we actually want to do with ourselves, what it is we actually want to create in our lives. And even though we might not have the strategy down pat, just to gain a vision and a dream that feels good to us, that inspires us and motivates us to fight through the obstacles and challenges that are going to come at us, this is what we have to gain, is this vision, this dream, this end goal, so that we can start aligning our physical circumstances in order to actually manifest this vision, this dream that feels so good in our heart and in our soul. The sun in Gemini will be sextiling, which is a very positive aspect, with Jupiter, the planet of growth and expansion and abundance. So Jupiter is just fresh in this Aries energy, wanting to start something new, wanting to begin a new cycle, wanting to push the boundaries of our comfortability in order to actually align with a new passion, a new desire, a whole brand new cycle, especially when it comes to reinventing ourselves. The sun, of course, in Gemini is very focused on the mental plane, very focused on the dualistic, polarized energies in our mind space, in our heart space. What do I mean by that? Well, we have two different choices, two different decisions, two different paths that we're currently debating. A lot of this is because we are breaking away from the old version of ourselves and our physical circumstances, and we haven't quite anchored into the new. We have a lot to think about. We have a lot to process. The sun sextiling Jupiter in this way is definitely going to bring back a different level of hopefulness that many of us have been lacking. It's going to bring an optimistic side of our perception, our understanding, our hopes and our dreams back into this physical realm. We will be a little bit more keen to interact with others, and the opportunities that come out of these conversations, these exchanges, could really be very healing and could very well reveal, if you will, new insights on what it is that we actually want to do. This is boosting our confidence in a big way, and it's almost lending us an opportunity to see the possibilities of the future. This is giving us a bigger picture vision, a bigger, broader perspective on what it is that we actually want. And through these interactions, we will be, honestly, unconsciously though, redefining what it is that we're moving away from and what it is that we're moving closer to. The moon will be semi-squaring Pluto, who is retrograde in Capricorn. So Pluto's whole mission in a retrograde in Capricorn is to do this inner journey within ourselves, to look at the shadow parts of ourselves, to see where it is that we block our own blessings, where it is that we get too fixated or obsessed with certain, I'm going to say, narratives that keep us small. We are reflecting back on past situations and experiences in order to see where it is that we've given our power away, so that we can make sure that we are not going to make those same mistakes in the present moment and in moving forward in the future. What I will say about this particular aspect is that this is likely to trigger some darker thoughts, some darker feelings, some darker memories within us, because of course, Mercury is retrograde, Pluto is retrograde, and those two are doing a deep dive in our psyche in order to unearth all of these negative, obsessive thoughts and narratives that are essentially keeping us in a fearful and paralyzed state of non-action. This can feel very overwhelming. The moon in Pisces, when overwhelmed, when overstimulated, just wants to run away, wants to disconnect from reality altogether, and will want to numb. Anytime that we have Piscean energy very dominant in the chart, I do recommend that you be very cautiously aware of what you throw yourself into. Many of us want to numb with drugs and alcohol or very consumed activities that have us distracted from our thoughts and from our emotions. That, although is a natural coping mechanism, is also going to prolong the kind of processing that we need to do right now in order to clear away the old, make a space for the new. The moon will be bumping into Chiron, the wounded healer, in not the nicest way. This particular energy will likely be created as a trigger and act as an activation in your daily life, likely from a personal relationship. The reason why I say this is because Chiron is the wounded healer. He's an Aries energy. And the Aries energy has us focused on our ego, on our identity wounds. Now, the moon in Pisces, very, very connected with the higher realms, with our higher self, definitely is overwhelmed with the darkness, with the negativity. That got triggered with this earlier aspect with Pluto. What we're doing right now is we're essentially losing ourselves in our shadow realm narrative. And when a situation pops off in our physical realm, likely from a personal relationship, this is going to essentially put salt in those wounds. We're going to be feeling them alive and well. Now, is it necessary for us to be uncomfortable? Yes. Why? Because that is what is required for most humans to change. What we know to be true with Chiron is that even though he wants to rub salt in the wounds for us to be very aware that they're still in existence and that they still need love and attention in order to heal, he also provides us with the wisdom on how to heal them. But we have to make sure, because the moon is in Pisces, that we just don't bury our head in the sand or run away from what is happening in our physical realities, because again, that's just going to prolong the healing process that we need to get down to business and work through in the here and now if we want to jump into brand new cycles and initiate a brand new reality for us. So it can be very disruptive, it can be very hurtful, but again, many of us need that little bitch slap of reality in order for us to recognize what still need work and what still needs to change. The moon will be sextiling Uranus. This is a beautiful energy, especially after this little negative funk that we will be getting in. Why? Uranus is the great awakener. He opens up our minds to new perspectives, new understandings. He downloads us with aha moments, with these realizations that are going to totally change the game. So this is a positive aspect between the moon and Uranus, which means that whatever negative situation popped off for you, whatever funk you were sitting in, whatever it is that you were trying to run from, there's going to be an epiphany. There's going to be this zap in your mental plane that gives you a perspective and an understanding of the situations popping off that you didn't have up until now. And once we open up our mind and we have this information come in, it totally changes the game for us. Not only are we rewriting the way that we thought and felt about earlier situations and past experiences, but it puts us in a beautiful position for us to adapt to the changes much more easily and get down to the nitty-gritty on what it is that we are going to do moving forward from here. The moon will be bumping into Mercury. This is a beautiful aspect for us because it is gaining knowledge and perspective from this Uranian energy. Just think of it this way. Uranus rules over our higher level intellect, bringing information in from our higher selves and from the cosmos. And then Mercury rules our lower level intellect, connected to our ego. So it's almost like we get this epiphany, we get this aha moment, we get this shift in perspective and understanding. Then we bring it down to the lower level mental plane that that Mercury and Gemini rules over. And we get to logically and practically process that information and sort it out. Mercury, at this particular point in time, is in Taurus energy. It just left its place of power in Gemini. It moved back into the final crisis degree in Taurus, which means that whatever epiphany we just had, whatever aha moment we just had, now we get to put the blinders on. We get to add our logical, practical strategy to it. What are we going to do with this? What can we do with this? What are we going to build from here? This is getting our heart and our head on the same page. Again, the moon in Pisces is intuition. It is creativity. It is our soul self. And bringing that kind of channeled information into the lower intellect that Mercury rules over means that we're looking to see how we can bring this information into our physical realm. Lastly, we will have Mercury sextile Mars. This is interesting for a couple of reasons. We have Mercury now retrograde in Taurus at those final degrees, retracing our steps back into this Taurus energy. We have Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passions, our desires, at the final degrees in Pisces, preparing to take his throne in Aries later on tomorrow. So we have a lot of pressure, first of all. We have a lot of completion, second of all, because they're at the later degrees in their respective energies. What we have here is a mentally stimulating energy, a lot of pressure in the crown. Again, if you haven't listened to this week's Ascension forecast, I'm going to recommend that you do so for those physical symptoms that we can expect to have throughout this week. We have a mentally stimulated, mentally busy mental plane. We want to do something, right? Action. That's Mars energy. He's kind of getting a little bit jittery. He's at that final degree of Pisces. He's wrapping up. He's ending a cycle. He's almost at the finish line of Piscean energy and the starting line of this Aries energy. So, you know, when you're in a race and you're kind of like nervous, you don't want to jump the gun, but you're waiting for the gun to go off. And so you're very, very focused on when we can get this party started. This is definitely the energy that we're feeling. We want to do something. We want to take action. And where this Mercury energy is over the mental plane, we either want to learn something new that we're passionate about, that we now desire to learn. We either want to teach what it is that we've learned, our experiences. We want to enter into a conversation, an exchange where we can kind of debate things out. Again, Mercury ruling over the mental plane, but in a retrograde means that we have all this internalized information, all of these ideas bouncing around. Mars just wants to get it out. He wants to do something with that energy. We have to give it a focus. This essentially, even though is very pressurized energy, very busy energy in the mental plane, it's almost creating a new excitement because we're done with certain chapters and we're getting excited because Mars moving into Aries is going to like reignite the spark, the fire that many of us have lost. We're on the verge of something new, and we're so on the verge of something new that we have this impulsivity, we have this urgency, we have this anxiousness that we have inside of us to get this party started, to jump into, to begin, to initiate a brand new chapter.